Lily sat on the couch. She held her phone. She did not look up. Grandpa sat in the chair. He said nothing. He looked at the window. The room was quiet. The air was heavy. Lily thought, Grandpa is old. He is boring. He is too quiet. I do not like him. She turned her face away. Anna, her mom, watched them. She felt sad. She wanted them to be close. She wanted a family that felt warm. She said, Lily, Grandpa is family. But Lily just said, I know. Her voice was flat. Anna took a deep breath. She had a plan. She said, we will take a trip. You, me, Grandpa, and Grandma. Lily looked up. Why? A trip with Grandpa? Anna smiled. Because family needs time. Family needs a road. Lily sighed. I do not want to go. Anna touched her hand. Love takes time. You will see. Grandpa looked at Lily for a moment. His eyes were kind, but he said no word. Lily turned back to her phone. That night, Anna sat alone. She whispered to herself, family is not always easy, but love can grow. She hoped the trip would change something. She hoped her daughter could see the man she once called the strongest father. Outside, the night was quiet. Inside, hearts were far. But a journey was about to begin. The car was full. Grandma sat in the front. Mom drove. Grandpa and Lily sat in the back. The road was long. Trees moved past the window. No one spoke. The silence was heavy. Lily held her phone. She typed fast. She laughed at the screen. Grandpa sat still. He folded his hands. He looked at the hills. He tried once. He said, when I was young, I walked this road. Lily did not answer. She put in her earphones. Grandpa looked down. His smile faded. Anna glanced in the mirror. She saw it all. Her chest ached. She thought, silence can hurt. Silence is louder than words. After 1 hour, Grandma asked, are we hungry? Lily said, I am not. Grandpa said, maybe later. The car kept moving. The road stretched on. Anna tried again. Lily, listen to Grandpa's story. Lily shook her head. I don't want old stories. Grandpa's eyes turned soft. He whispered, old stories hold young hearts. But Lily did not hear. The music in her ears was too loud. The car reached a gas stop. Grandpa stepped out first. He walked slow, his back a little bent. Lily stayed in the car. She looked at him. For one small second she felt something, but she looked away again. The trip went on. The road was long. The silence was longer. Anna held the wheel tight. She said in her heart, a trip is more than a road. A trip is a chance. The family stopped in a small town. The air was fresh. The street was quiet. Shops were small. Dogs lay in the sun. Lily walked fast. She did not wait for Grandpa. She turned the corner. Her foot slipped on a stone. She fell hard. Her phone dropped. Ah! Lily cried. Grandpa rushed to her. His steps were slow, but his hands shook. He held her arm. Are you hurt? His voice shook too. Lily looked up. She saw his worried face. His eyes were wet. His hand trembled on her arm. For a moment she felt safe. She stood up. I'm okay. Grandpa bent down. He picked up her phone. He brushed the dust off with care. He gave it back. He said, be careful. The ground can trick you. Lily took the phone. She whispered, thank you. It was the first soft word she gave him. At dinner that night, they sat at a wooden table. The food was warm. Steam rose from the bowls. Grandpa placed a piece of fish on Lily's plate. He said, eat more. You need strength. Lily looked at him. She did not speak, but she ate it. Grandpa smiled. It was small but real. Anna watched. Her heart lifted. She thought, care hides in small acts. Love is quiet, but strong. The night in the town was calm. The silence in the family was softer. Not gone, but softer. The next morning, the family went to the mountain. The road was steep. The air was cool. Birds sang in the trees. Lily started strong. She walked fast. But soon her legs grew tired. The path was hard. She stopped. "I cannot go up," she said. Mum looked worried. "Do you want to rest?" Grandma said, "We can wait here." But Grandpa shook his head. He said, "No, we will walk together." He stood beside Lily. His back was bent, but his eyes were firm. He said, "Step by step. You can do it. I will walk with you." Lily looked at him. She felt unsure, but she took one step. Grandpa took one step too, then another, and another. The climb was slow. The sun was hot. Lily's hair stuck to her face. Grandpa's breath was heavy. Still, he did not stop. He kept close. At last, they reached the top. The wind was fresh. The valley opened wide below them. The sky was bright and endless. Lily stood still. Her eyes grew wet. She turned and looked at Grandpa. He smiled. His face was red from the climb. He said, "See? Step by step, we arrive." In that moment, Lily's heart moved. She dropped her phone into her bag. She threw her arms around Grandpa. She whispered, "Thank you." Grandpa held her tight. The mountain was high, but the wall in her heart was higher, and now it had broken. Mom and Grandma watched from behind. Mom's eyes filled with tears. She thought, sometimes love waits on the top. The trip was ending. The family packed their bags. The car was full again. But this time the air was different. The silence was soft, not heavy. Lily sat close to Grandpa. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Her phone was in her pocket. Her eyes were closed. Grandpa sat very still. He did not move, afraid she might wake. A small smile touched his face. Anna looked in the mirror. She saw her daughter, her father, side by side. Her eyes filled with tears. She thought, a trip can change a heart. Grandma whispered, "It feels warm now." Anna nodded. She said, "Yes, it feels like home." The road stretched back to the city. Trees moved past again, but this time the road felt short. Grandpa spoke at last. His voice was low. He said, "Thank you for coming with me." Lily opened her eyes. She said, "No, thank you." Grandpa's hand shook a little. He patted her arm. He said, "Love is not loud, but it stays." The car was quiet again, but it was not an empty quiet. It was a warm quiet. When they reached home, Lily held Grandpa's hand. She did not let go. She said, "Next time we go again." Grandpa smiled. Anna's heart was full. The trip was over, but the love was just beginning.